This week on the MHM Social, I'll be chatting with Liverpool legend and Sky Sports favourite, Mr. Phil Thompson. How's it going?
Just didn't have my audio on. Very good.
I know.
Very good.
I've had that.
Have you been bearing up? No events?
Good. Back on the golf course now. Football's back and seems like a bit of normality.
Yeah, it's not been bad. I've had one game of golf. I'm not a great golfer, but actually played quite well considering I've not lifted a club up. So
where did you play?
It was good. I played just local here. There's a place called Hailston Hall. I'm not a member anywhere. I'm not that good.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest. So, but it was great just to be outside, and the course was in fantastic condition.
Yeah.
It was obviously a bit wet, sort of the way the weather's just been, but it was absolutely, the greens were fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
That's always the way. I was just moaning before that we had all this amazing weather when we were stuck indoors, and they let us back out on the golf course, and all it does is rain. That's part of living in the UK, I guess.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining me, mate. I really appreciate it. And
all right.
There's only one place I can start, really. It's got to be Liverpool, isn't it? After winning the title for the first time in 30 years. Have you stopped celebrating yet?
Well, I don't think you ever can be a Liverpool fan after waiting for 30 years. Excuse me. Ever since that Thursday night when Manchester City lost at Chelsea, I wasn't thinking that was going to happen, so I was quite chilled about it. But I must admit, I did have some champagne on ice, just in case. But I was with my family just on our patio as Sky was there also. They said, do you mind us filming it in case? And I said, yeah, it's not a problem. I don't think it'll happen because I would like it to happen when the boys are together, when the boys are going to be on the pitch and win it together. So that's going to be Manchester City or Aston Villa. Because I actually thought that the boys would all be in their own houses because of distancing and so on and so forth. So I was absolutely delighted for all sorts of reasons. The main one was the players could celebrate together.
Yeah, the scenes looked incredible, didn't it? Of them all celebrating. It just like you, I didn't quite expect it. I thought City had started back quite well, and I thought it'd last a couple more games. But yeah, it was just I'm glad they was always going to get it over the line. But I'm just glad it happened. You know, it's done now. They're champions. They deserved it. Thoroughly deserved it.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting. We totally deserved it, and it couldn't be that way. Some of the people who were going on, Michael, they were talking about null and void, get the season done, and obviously people had their own agendas to it. I thought it was a bit embarrassing to let themselves down a lot because it was so early into the pandemic, into the lockdown. There was a long way to go before anything could be decided. And I thought it was commendable of the Premier League, Richard Masters, how he actually did it, because he didn't get too involved. He didn't show his hand. He waited. And he waited to see what happened, to see how the pandemic, and we knew that the curve would be up and then it would come down and then we would see what would happen. And obviously we had to think about people, and there was people dying. But I think they gave that very good thought and waited till everything calmed down. And I think they got it absolutely spot on. Yeah. And some of those disbelievers that the Premier League wouldn't get underway have been from doubters to believers. So fair play to them.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. I think they dealt with it fantastically, and they didn't rush into a decision. They didn't get pressured by anyone. Like you say, there was a lot of people, kind of neutrals, and from other big towns saying, it's got to be and I won't go too much into that. Well, I live in Manchester, so I got a lot of mixed opinions on it.
Well, there you go.
No, they did the right thing, and as I say, I was so glad they won it, and it was thoroughly deserved. But I've actually got something to answer you about. I played back to golf again. I played golf the other day with a City fan, and he was saying about how that win after, really, buoyed them and showed them they could go on and win the league next year, and it meant so much to them. And I just turned around and said to him, I said, look, I don't see how you can say that. I said, you played against the majority of the Liverpool team who've probably been celebrating a lot. They won the league. I can't see how it tarnishes in any way. I don't know what you felt about that game.
Listen, it was no shock to me, the result. I thought we'd either win 1-0 in a very we'd have to be very defensive situation, or this could get a little bit messy. And so it was no surprise to me in the situation back in 82, 83 when we won the league. And we lost. We'd won it with 6 games to go. We lost 5 and drew 1 of the last 6 games. So it shows you that little bit of the toughness that you've had throughout the season drops. I wouldn't say that they drank too much. There's a lot of those lads who were actually teetotal.
Yeah, I know.
But it's just that intensity drops. You could see the lads coming out before the game, and they were all trying to be, I'm going to be focused here. Jordan Henderson, look forward. They're applauding you. So that was the Liverpool players. But then I put myself in the Man City players, who was a wonderful team. It's been one of the best teams to ever grace, not just the Premier League, the Football League before it. They've been sensational. They were hurt. And if I was in their shoes, I would have been desperate. Get me out on that pitch. I'm going to show them who's going to be the best. So us getting beat didn't surprise me because of how good Manchester City are and how we would have lowered just our standards. It's not nice, by the way, but part of that showed how good we are, because for 20, until the penalty kick, I think Liverpool were the better team and certainly had the better chances. So, but there's no disguising it. Both teams are just an absolute treat to watch.
Yeah, I think they're so far ahead of anyone else. And, as an Arsenal fan, I thought we're a long way behind that group now. But I look at the other teams like Chelsea are improving, Man United are definitely improving. But I just can't see at the moment where anyone else catches up with those two. And, going forward, maybe even Liverpool played even better last season. They went and won it this season. I mean, how do you keep improving now? How did Jurgen Klopp take those guys and keep making that team better and keep motivated?
I think that's where the magic happens, and as being a coach, because this is difficult, because Liverpool and any manager has not been in this position, a Premier League winner, and now what you do, how do you get them motivated? It's got to be, put it this way, when I was playing, we had Ronnie Moran, who was our coach. Literally, after we'd won the title, he said, you're getting out for last season. It's next season now you've got to start doing it. Straight away, they were focused on the following season. What are they going to be doing? What is the recruitment going to be like? How can we improve again and go again? And that's what it has to be. So Jurgen Klopp has to do that without having any Premier League experience. I know he had that in Dortmund. Maybe use a little bit of Dortmund because he won it 2 seasons on the trot. Yeah. So to beat Bayern Munich twice has to take something. So I would like to think there'll be 1 or 2 players coming in. I know there's a big debate whether Liverpool are actually going to spend or not. Yeah. I just think you need new faces. You need to make the dressing room vibrant again. New faces coming in, a little bit of pressure on 1 or 2 people. Yeah. And I was sorry that we didn't get Timo Werner. I really was. And I know for the right reasons Liverpool said no because of the financial implications, players taking deferrals, so we can't be spending this money, given this salary. We have to improve while you're on top. And I think that was so if we just signed a player of Timo Werner's qualities who knew that he would probably sit on the bench for half a season, something like that, I thought, what a signing he would be. So it was a disappointment to me.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things I was going to get onto. When I heard what he said about Timo Werner, and it reminded me a lot of what Arsene Wenger used to say in his kind of peak with Arsenal and the kind of start of the decline, when he was saying, it's too much money and we've got the players here and we won't bring that in. And I think it's very admirable by Jurgen Klopp. But there was part of me that thought, is it maybe going against his ethos to do that because he kind of wants to make good players better rather than bringing in superstars? And it made me think, is it a dangerous line where to go now? Is he stick with that squad? Like you say, I agree with bringing players in.
No, absolutely. And it is, he has got a bit of a problem. And because of the finance adjusters, even the super clubs like ourselves and Manchester United are feeling this. But I always think if you have that opportunity, and listen, our finances have gone like that in the last couple of years because of it. I would like to think, we haven't spent a lot in the last 12 months, that we would have had that. And I do think that you should try and improve while you're on top. He might have been looking which is, this team is still very young, which is one of the great things for Liverpool fans, is going, our backline can be together for the next 5 years. And the rest of the players are not too old. So it looks a very healthy squad. But you do, and I totally agree, all the best managers at times have to be ruthless. And you just don't know what's around the corner. Will one maybe want to move on? I've won the Premier League, I've won the Champions League, I'll maybe go somewhere. You don't know. So you have to be ready for everything. That's why I always say, while you're on top, you must strengthen.
Yeah, I agree. And talking about strengthening, who do you see, coming through and threatening the top two next year? Is anyone you can see that are bridging that gap? Who do you expect to challenge?
It's funny, isn't it? Because everybody was saying how well Chelsea did after they beat Manchester City, and they've signed Vernon, they've signed Ziyech, so they've made two decent signings, and everybody's going, "Oh, they're going," and then they lose against West Ham, and they still need a few more players. They're not strong enough. Chelsea will be better. Arsenal and Spurs, I don't think they've got enough, and I don't think they will have the finances to actually buy big. Yes, they might bring in a couple of players, but they won't sign big players for lots of money. So I'm not really worried about them. You can feel where I'm going with this now, can't you?
Yeah, I know. I wasn't leading you there on purpose, don't worry.
No, but I'm looking, and even prior to the lockdown, Manchester United were looking good. But we've said that for a while. We used to say that about Liverpool, didn't we? Oh, they're looking good now, and it doesn't materialise. But since the lockdown, I think they've been exceptional. I think they look as though they've got goals in them. And people have been talking about Mason Greenwood and talking about, he's only 18. He's Michael Owen, reincarnated. He's quick, he's powerful for a slight boy, and he can score goals. You've got Rashford. Martial, I'm not too sure of over the long term. But it's behind them. And I think if you can get... I think Pogba has always been a bad apple. And with Mourinho, I think he upset things. But I do think if you can get him, I think with the arrival of Fernandes, I think he's gone like that. He's no longer the top man. All the talk is about Bruno Fernandes, and they're going like that. Wow, this boy can play. Is he Paul's goals, or is he, and one of the other players who scored goals from midfield? He brings so much of you. So, yes, I can see them working, but will it work with them just as Matic as a holding midfield player? So, at the moment, they do look a threat. I think, and I stressed, I think they will probably get within 10 points of Man City and Liverpool next year. And that is an improvement, because that's what Ole will be looking for. Improvements, getting closer, serious challenges again.
Yeah, totally agree. You've got to sort of close that gap gradually. But with Pogba, I think what you said is so true. I watch him play for France, and he just looks like, he gets the ball, keeps it so simple, and that bit of magic will happen. He doesn't force that bit of magic. Whereas the second he walked in the door at United, it was like he almost wanted to prove that he was a top man straight away without actually proving he was a top man. And now Bruno's there. I think he might wake up and go, this kid's pretty good, and I know I'm that good as well, and I want a bit of respect and a bit of admiration from the fans. So it'd be interesting to see with them too, definitely.
Yeah, I think Pogba is obviously a player in there. But I do think it was that. And I do think the Premier League, in the middle of Premier Leagues, this high press with everybody. And you're right, you have too many touches. There's quicker players than Pogba who are snatching it off them too. And if you lose the ball in there and there's a counter-attack on, and for me, his reaction was not great. But it's working for them at the moment. So,
yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't last.
I actually want to get onto international football, because a lot of people forget, because we've had the extended season. We should actually be at Euros now. I was actually meant to be out there, at the games. And you're a man who played 42 times for England, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
It's amazing what you can search and find out now. No, I knew that anyway. Going into the tournament next year, when it happens, how do you think that England team's going to look, and how ready they are? I know there's a few Liverpool players will be heavily involved.
Do you know what? England's the same with me as what Liverpool has for the last 30 years. I've always felt like we can win the title.
Yeah.
And I've been like that with England. I've always felt we can win this. we can win this. What we always have to realise is even some of these smaller nations are absolutely desperate to beat England. And why is England any? It is.
Yeah.
We all still have that name and everybody. So you have that burden. And I think at the last World Cup in 18, I just thought we went there for the first time, people not expecting.
Yeah.
Not expecting. And I was one of them. And how well we did and how close we actually came. And I think now with the Euros, I think we might have a good chance. I still think we'll have that burden where people see it, because it's not just with England, it's the Premier League.
Yeah.
These players, everybody plays in the Premier League. So it is, we've got some sensational young players who I think our biggest problem with England has been keeping possession of the ball. We've always been great, England, as up and at them, get the ball in the box. Let's fight for the ball and let's do this. Let's have good defence. We need more. We need to keep the ball better. We need to share the ball with each other. And I just think we're getting to that way with more and more and better coaches coming into the Premier League. Our players are learning from them. And now it is all about possession, how often you can keep the ball. And it's sometimes the long way round is the best way round to scoring a goal.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, you look back to that Croatia game without going over the pass, and that's what won in the game. They had that experience in midfield just to keep passing, keep the pressure on, without doing too much, and it looked a lot tired. But I agree with you. I think expectation-wise, I've grown up in an era where, it's all about we're going to win. And then, the media boosts us up there, and a couple of games we're back down there. But I think it's kind of leveled out now where people are like, yeah, you know what, we're not the best, but we've got enough players to have a good run and we could do it. And it's quite exciting times.
Yeah, I do. I think, as I said, with all these youngsters that are coming through, and he's got a nucleus of experienced players who can carry the team, but it's still going to be that pressure comes on them from ourselves, from the media, and the other teams. And it even boils down to fans. Fans seem to hate English fans, and we coped with that. But there's still countries who have this extreme ultras and violent element that we still witness. We don't have it at our Premier Leagues anymore. Yeah. Sometimes it rears its ugly head, but they hold that against us as well. So all this we have to contend with. So I would like to think we are getting there. I think Gareth Southgate deserves great compliments for getting the lads to play this way under extreme pressure. And I think we've, Sterling's and Rashford's coming on board have been quite exceptional. You've got good work rate with the likes of Henderson being in there. Harry Maguire's good. We've got a few other good centre-backs who could actually play, whether it's Gomez or Mings. So there's all kinds. Keane at Everton showing improvements as well. So it's not bad. And we're quite blessed in the full-back positions.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm looking forward to it next year. I think it's something 6% that everyone's forgotten about, but it's, it'll be a good 2021. I've got a couple of questions for you that people have tweeted into me. And one of the first ones is actually, I was going to say Brian from Glasgow, but the truth is it's my dad. He is Brian from Glasgow, but he wanted to and he wanted to say that, with your history with the youth team and as assistant manager and then, successfully being a caretaker manager, why did you never continue to go forward and go down that route?
Do you know what? It was strange. Just after it was funny timing as a lot of things in football, Michael. When I left Liverpool and I went to Sheffield United, it was great. Came back as reserve team coach. Had 6 years as reserve team coach, as I say, with the kids. But then when I got sacked by Graham Souness, 1992, the Premier League was just starting. So without looking as though to get back involved, all of a sudden I got sort of TV, and it was one of them. So I had Richard Keys, Andy Gray and myself, and a little bit with George Best. And I was like, this is quite nice, this. And it was a lovely way of life. And I kept getting phone calls to do different shows. So it maybe became a bit more comfortable. I had a business back then as well. So maybe I got a little bit blasé about it. And then out of the blue, became assistant manager with Gerard Houllier for 6 years. And 2004, when I left then, I did have thought of getting back into it because I never went back into the business. I said, I'm not going to go there. And I got a couple of offers from a couple of clubs to actually, but they didn't do anything for me. I thought, no, I wanted something a little bit more. And I thought, well, maybe it'll come. Lo and behold, Sky, Jeff Stelling's on the phone asking me to go back and do Soccer Saturday 2004. Did a few shows to get me, because I just didn't want to jump straight from football club back into doing TV, talking and maybe criticising some of the managers and coaches who I knew very well from 6 years at Liverpool. So I was a bit reluctant. Yeah. And then I got comfortable again, sitting in those chairs in the early days with Rodney Marsh, and then Rodney left. And it was maybe a little bit comfortable.
I'm glad you stuck to Sky, because it wouldn't be the same about you on a Saturday. You
have to get used to it.
We've got one here from Darren's son who says that, who's the best player? If you could choose any player from any generation to partner with at the back, who would it be?
Oh, my goodness. Well, I must admit, Michael, Virgil van Dijk is something. I think he could span over the generations of a Liverpool player. The way he's calm, the way he's assured, plays a high line. I think he might have got in our reserves. I really do. No, listen, I've never changed who I played with, because I always said Alan Hansen was probably the best centre-back since Bobby Moore. He was that cool. He could pass a ball. He was quicker than what a lot of people thought. He was, I think, the best centre-back that I could have wished to have played for. And we both did. We both hated chasing back. So we pushed up to the halfway line. Ray Clements was our sweeper keeper. So we complemented each other. So it was a great formation. And 1978-79, we conceded only 16 goals in 42 league games. So it tells you that there's something great. He'd be my favourite partner. I love playing alongside Emlyn Hughes. So it was difficult to sort of Emlyn or Big Al. So I'd have to just go for Big Al.
No, that's a fair response. I mean, when I speak to compliment what you were saying, I mean, when I speak to a lot of players on here or at the shows we do and stuff, they say that to go to Anfield in the kind of 70s and 80s, just to score a goal was like winning the league, because it was just so hard to go there and break them down. So it's, I can totally understand what you're saying. And it also leads on to our last question, which is a bit similar. But Liam Snowden says, how do you think the current team compares to the team of your generations? And, what do you think they need? What's the difference and how do they match up?
Wow. Well, that's hard, because I say 78, 79. What a team that was, and 16 goals we conceded. We scored 86 goals. We only conceded 4 goals at home in 21 league games, which is something absolutely incredible. Yeah. So that was special. How would they compare with this team of now? To be honest, I think our team would have at least got a draw out playing against these, but we are all up in our 60s now. So
I knew that was coming. It was still funny. It must have been when a team scored a goal against you in those times. It must have just been like shock. You must have all been looking at each other going, I can't believe we just let that one in. Because you're literally just furious.
Honestly, and I think we lost 3 goals against Aston Villa at Villa Park. So, and it was annoying, and not only annoyed us, annoyed the coaching staff. We were so believed that it was so precious a commodity, a clean sheet, that it was so different. And it's lovely to hear Virgil van Dijk now. That is his big thing. It's not about how many goals, 4 or 5 that we score. He wants a clean sheet. And it's great listening. I think it was Joe Gomez or Trent Alexander-Arnold go, oh, all as you get from Big Virgil is clean sheet. I know, I like that.
The throwback, I like. So,
it is, as a defender, that's got to be like scoring a worldie.
Yeah.
Sort of a 30-yarder in the top corner or something like that. Great goal. To me, a clean sheet was always that precious. Yeah. And it's nice to see that came back a bit for this Liverpool side, because last time we had a chance of winning a title with Brendan. If we would have had this defence with that side back in 14-15, and not Sacco and Skirtle and Mignolet, we'd have won the league by about 10 or 12 points.
Yeah, totally.
That was that good with Gerrard, Suarez, Sturridge, Sterling. Wow.
Yeah.
So defense has a lot of say in how you win titles.
Definitely. I was going to say, talk about some of the shows we've got coming up. I mean, you've done the big show for us in January, yourself and Danny Murphy and Bruce, and we're 2,000 people at the Liverpool Empire, and the fans just absolutely loved having you there. And I've got to say, it was actually the first one we've done together, and you were superb with stories and the way you answered the questions, a bit like you have done today. It was great. And we've got a few more coming out with John Aldridge and the one in February with Ian Rush. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to those. And do you enjoy doing the shows?
Do you know what? It's great. And do you know what's nice about it? Bruce came in 1981. Danny was obviously after that. So you had a little bit of generations. I've obviously been with Bill Shankly was incredible. Bruce came when Bob was in charge, Bob Paisley. But those Shankly days, as being an apprentice, being around those great players then. So you have wonderful stories that you can go through generations. So to have three guys there, Bruce went on after me. So, of course, he knew what went on when the demise came. And then you had Danny with his films. And, of course, I was Danny's assistant manager for 6 months.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful just sitting there and relating it. And, Michael, when I came out on that stage, and I seen that we had a full Empire Theatre, 2,000 people. It was a bit of a shock that these have all come to listen to the stories of, well, two older ones and a relatively younger one in Danny. But it was sensational. And you're right, the feedback, you might have got it being the organizer of it, but just listening to people and how much they enjoyed it. Because a lot of people know of what's going on now and what's happened in the last 5 or 10 years. There's still a lot of people who they want to hear the stories. They want the heyday. And I think if you looked at the average age of a lot of those people, it'd probably be 40, 45 of the people who were in that theatre. So I'm looking forward to the other ones. And I think it's like that. Anybody who goes, and people do talk and they say it's worth going to see. And of course, with Aldo, with Rushy, same again. You've got good stories in the two of them.
No, it'd be great. And you know what I love about doing it is it's not just, you know, the fans will come over to me after and the people who've turned up and they'll say, I absolutely loved that. You know, I met Phil, I heard the story, I was at that game he spoke about and it was brilliant. But then it's when like yourself will come to me and go, do you know what, that was amazing. I walked out and I can't believe the reception. I got, I spoke to this guy who was at a game in 78 and I remember that. And I think people sometimes don't realise that it's both ways. You know, fans idolise players, but players also, you know how important the fans are. And I think that's something to me that's really, really special.
Well, I think it's came back a lot with Liverpool. I think social media helps with a lot of the younger generation. But the people who, when I was playing and the likes of Bruce was playing, even Danny was, obviously social media wasn't big then. It's bringing people together again. But that generation of not knowing, and it's great doing after dinner speaking and you've got one-on-one and you're talking to an audience. But when you had three guys, and Perry Groves was good because Perry's done quite a few of these. So he knew of where to go in our careers. Yeah. And I think that's something that's important, is to touch the right area, which will touch the fans. And the same thing of us being able to relate to the sports, I think is very, very important.
Yeah, definitely. Phil, that's about it, mate. I really, really appreciate you chatting with me today, and I can't wait to the events we've got coming up. My pleasure. Hopefully it'll all be well and everything will be safe. Yeah, and I will look forward to it. Get back out on that golf course, mate. Get back out there. We'll have a game. Cheers, Phil. All right, mate. Thanks, mate. I'll speak to you soon. Bye, mate. Bye. Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the MHM Social with Phil Thompson. If you'd like to watch more episodes of the MHM Social, please like and subscribe to this page. And if you'd like to follow more of our events, please check our website, mhmmediagroup.com.